So I'm going to show the whole canvas, and I don't know if you could see it yet. I have a delay. But the bottom part of the canvas has grass, okay? So in the background, you want to use your dark green for your undercolor here on the bottom. And what I did was I curved it up. What I used, my brushes, I need my brushes at the kitchen. All of them. Here, you could stick them upright in this jar.
Okay.
What I used was a Deerfoot stippler brush, which I'm gonna have to show you in just a second. And I just stippled on here the dark, and then I stippled over it the cad yellow. So if you don't have a Deerfoot stippler, which a lot of people don't, oh, you love the hummingbird, yeah. That was fun. Actually, that was way easier than the flowers, but I don't want to spook you. um, if you don't have a Deerfoot stippler brush, just use any old brush and dip it into your phthalo green, and just, or you could just even paint over it. You don't have to stipple the dark green. And then over the dark green, it doesn't have to dry completely. You could stipple the cadmium yellow. And I try to put that in this area under the hummingbird so that that part is more highlighted than the rest, and the rest of the yellow is more blended into the green. Okay, so you might want to do that as your first thing, or else you could save it for your last thing. But that's what you'll see on here in case you're wondering what's missing. Okay, and but for you guys, I'm going to start with. Um, you want to put this over there for me, please? I'm going to start with where you are, except I have the dark of the grass on here, the dark part of the grass. Okay? And you have all my brushes in here yet. Thanks, babe. Okay.
I don't know. This chat stopped at 7:05.
It stopped? Well, I think it stops and starts. You know, you can hit your name on the bottom, hit live at the very, very bottom, or the name. I was showing you what to do before. Let's see. Um, there's no problem at all. It's just the last time someone chatted or put something on there that you could see. So there's no problem at all on there.
Oh, okay.
Yes, give me a thumbs up, everybody, and hit subscribe and make comments after we're done when this turns into a video. Comment about how much fun you had so more people can join us. Is anybody out there that's hasn't joined me before? Hi, David. This is your first time. What perfect timing. Okay. So we're talking about the different kinds of paints we use. I use the heavy body, usually golden heavy body paints. I'll pick a big one here that I use. This is yellow ochre, one of my staples, that and titanium white. You could use fluid acrylic, which is more of a liquid, whichever one you want to use. If to me, and what everybody else says is true, use the best quality paints that you could afford. If you use a student grade paint, that's great for practicing. And then after a while, you'll get the itch to upgrade to a heavy body paint, professional grade, such as Golden, or what's the one, Leanne, in Australia? Matisse. Matisse is an Australian brand. Liquitex, some people like. That's all I'll say about that. Some people like Liquitex. I think that they get to my area on the slow side, or I don't know what's going on, but I've had problems with separating with that brand. So whatever brand you want to use, and whatever uh, type paint you want to use, you just have to adjust it, not use as much water, so forth and so on. Who else is here? Robbie K, hello. Dawn's, oh, I do know who you are. Dawn's Crafteria. Oh, okay, awesome. Oh, okay. I'm glad you're here. Welcome and welcome to the group. Welcome to YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Um, I'm sprinkling some water. I'm not spraying. If you have a fine mist spray, that's great. I always lose mine, so I just drip a little bit of water on mine. Um, but you could go ahead and add green to the bottom if you want to. And but otherwise, I'm going to get started on my. I use an angle brush here. I have a few angle brushes. So that's what I'm going to be using. My angle brushes for my flowers. I just find it a little bit easier. The brushes that I like are Utrecht, and this is the Tuscan series. So these are the brushes that I like to use. These are my favorite, and I have some old Simply Simmons brushes that I use. They're kind of beat up. The black paint over this part of it, the ferrule, always comes off, especially if you use alcohol to do a real deep cleaning. Um, so that's the story on that. And what I'm going to do to get started is I'm going to do something just so simple, but it's going to make it look like a painting. I'm dipping my brush into the quinacridone magenta and a little bit into the titanium white. Honey, if someone puts something in all caps,
You know, this says no connection to.
it says no connection.
It hasn't gotten anything since 7:05.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
don't know
know
what's
what?
going on.
I can see the chat here, so you know what we could do, honey? I'm not on right now. Like, I'm not using this. So you could flip this around. You could flip this around so that you could see it. Okay.
Okay.
But I have a lot of stuff on this, so I don't know. Or we could just do whatever. You could just be my go for person.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. All right. So I dipped a little bit in my quinacridone magenta and a little bit of my titanium white. I'm pinching it off on the palette to make it as skinny as possible and get rid of all the excess paint. And what I'm going to do is come down here and make fine lines that are about this long. I'd say about 2 inches long, varying lengths with this color, pink. Pink is what you get. And I come down like this. And I try not to keep it the same color, and it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And this is what I'm going to do. So I have about, I'd say about 5 lines here. I need another dip. I have about 5 lines. Okay. And that's that. Okay. Now I'm going to wipe that off of my brush. And what I'm going to do now is put the little ends on that. This is the stamen of the flower just peeking down from the top. And it feels really good to feel like I actually painted something on the painting here that is complete. Now I'm dipping into my titanium white while it's still wet and just on the very edge go in the same direction of these little stems of the stamen, and on the very tips on the bottom here, while it's still wet, I'm putting some white on the tip, just like that. I use a small detail brush just to make it a little easier. Okay, Can I show the bottom again? Now it should show on my screen, it's showing the bottom is right here. So on my screen it's showing. Having trouble seeing the top. Okay, you're having trouble seeing the top and you're having trouble seeing the bottom. So I'm going to move it in closer so you can see the top. And I'm going to be watching my screen to see if that's correct, rather than messing with my studio and getting everything out of focus. And it does look a little out of focus. I have no idea why it looks so out of focus. I might have to work on that a little bit. Okay. So, move it over this way. I'm going to see if I could put it in focus, because that seems to be a problem. Let me see if I can focus it a little better. Okay. Just a second. I'll be with you in a momento. Configure video. Okay, hang on a second. I'll be right with you. See if I could bring it into focus. I wonder what's going on. Let's see. Hang on, everyone. Something strange is going on. Of course. Let me do my okay. I'm going to try to get it more into focus. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. Should be okay. It should be okay. Maybe it's the color that doesn't show up. Let me see. It might just be the color is hard to show up on the screen. Now let me get you guys back. Okay. So anyway, all I did was I made about 5 lines coming straight down with my quinacridone magenta and titanium white mixed together. And on the very tips, I put a touch of the titanium white on the very tip. So I don't know if you could scroll back while you're watching and see the picture, the painting at the very beginning, but you should be able to see the finished one on there, and that will probably help you out. Okay. So let's see if it shows up better now that I'm off the edge. Let's see if the rest of the flowers show up better. If not, we're in a little bit of trouble. Okay. So over here, I'm going to lighten that same quinacridone magenta. I'm going to lighten it up just a tad. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make a little bud of the flower. So it's not really quite open yet, just an imperfect circle. That's all. Any kind of shape is fine. It could be coming from any direction, but just the imperfect circle right here. Okay. And I'm going to leave that a little bit, let that rest because I don't want that to be wet when I come back in there. And I'm going to layer that. All right. Now, some of these flowers are more background and they are not quite into focus for the actual painting. You can hardly see, you could barely see the pink and white. Okay, I have it at, let me move it up a little closer. That's the only thing I could think to do. All right, let me see if that made a difference. And it's going to take me about 15 seconds for my delay because I can't zoom any closer on the camera. I think it's the color. So I'm going to see if that made a difference. Can you see it now? You can probably see the light pink better than the dark pink. From what I could see the light pink. Okay. All right. Oh, I missed the dad joke. All right. Honey, you got to catch on to the joke. Oh, you still don't have it? Oh, you don't have it? Okay.
I don't know why it's off. It was the 4G was on, but now it's not.
Oh, that's the problem?
I guess.
Okay, well, let's just see. Yeah, I don't understand why that would be like that. Huh. I don't know. Don't know what to tell you.
No, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
It
Because
is strange. It was on.
That's why we got all the messages.
Well, that's all. That's the kind of stuff that happens during a live. You can see now. Okay, I was just giving you a chance. I didn't want to go on and start painting this, and then I figured I might as well do some tech stuff. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. The bottom of this fuchsia flower is bell shaped. Is the best way I could describe it, and it has 3 rounded parts on the bottom. That's like a skirt or pantaloon or something that us old ladies could identify with. Sorry, David. And then the top part reminds me of a a jester, whatever you call those old fashioned that you see on a deck of cards. It looks like the top, the hat of a jest, that has the little bell on the end. It kind of has that shape to it. All right. And then this one up here is going to be more swirly and more abstract looking. It's coming apart. The wind is blowing. And then this one is going to be a little bit sideways, a little bit more into focus, but again, not quite as clear as the one that the hummingbird is going to be eating from. Okay? Court jester. Thank you so much. I should have Googled David. All right, so I'm gonna go up here and do the abstract one because there's no wrong with this. I'm gonna make like a cup handle right here, okay? It's like a cup handle. And I want to put more quinacridone in there, but I don't want to really mix it together. I want it to stay kind of stripy looking. So here's my cup handle right here. So I left the light pink on the bottom. And could you bring that a little closer to me? And then,
what's that?
Then I'm going to come down here like this. So did you see that? Right here, honey.
Oh.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to come down. I came down there like that. Right here. Okay. Then, does everybody have that? I made a little cup handle and I crossed over and came down like that. And this is where I'm going to make that stamen part again. Made those 4 or 5 little lines. Okay. All right. So those that are watching, you can see this color a lot better than here. Here is like a dark of these. So if you want to know what I put up here in this corner, it's the same as these lines right here, but it's just the lines, just the stamen part. And then I put white on the tip. So that's what you'll see up here. But it's a darker quinacridone. It doesn't have as much pink in it. So it kind of blended in, and I think it's a camera deal. Okay. So now my next step, I'm going to put, while I still have the same color on my brush, and we were practicing with the leaves, press harder at the top, curve around, and come down like this. So that's all you have to do is tilt your brush like this, press hard at the top, ease up when you get down to meet this part, and then you have that little hook. Okay? So that's part of it that I want to get on there. Now, we're going to dip a little into the phthalo blue with the same brush, just a smidgen into the phthalo blue, and that gives us more of a purple color. Okay, so you end up with a purple color. Oh. Okay. I would show you my palette, but I have so much. I have too many water droplets on there, and it started to run everywhere. Okay. So now I'm going to go in between. I hope everyone's watching. And you know that little part of the teacup handle that you see through the whole of it? I'm going to make the whole of that teacup handle more of the purple color that I made from the phthalo blue mixed with the quinacridone magenta and white that's on my brush. So I'm just going to make a little circle there. You see that? Just making a little circle there. This doesn't make any sense, but it's the fun part of the painting. It's the painting part. It's not the serious part. So a little quinacridone magenta, a little touch of white, and a touch of phthalo blue, and you get a purpley color. Okay. I'm going to take the same thing, and I'm just going to put a little edge on my teacup handle. Oh, that was a big edge. I want a little edge. Okay. So I just dip this in some water and make that a little edge. Okay. Very easy with acrylics. You just fix it like that. Keep changing parts of my paper towel till I get my small edge. You have to do it right away. If you want to fix something, you have to do it right away with a wet rag or paper towel. Just stick your finger in it, make it small. If you don't do it right away, you won't be able to do it. Now, if there's a hint of it left, that's fine. It's a painting. It's not I don't know. It's not mathematics. It's art. Okay, with that same purpley color. All right, I darkened it a little bit. That meant a little bit more phthalo blue. Okay. With that same purpley color, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to make the bell of this flower going more this direction. Okay, so that bell that we were seeing on the bottom flower, it's going to be, this is the bell. Right here. This is the bell. So I'm making that bell right now. It looks kind of like those modern skirts that you see that have the puffy bottom part. That's what it is. And that's why there's some purple over here. I just put a little purple over there. Okay. And that's why that's like that. Now I'm going to lighten it up and highlight it while it's still wet with a little white so you can see the difference in the bell. Little tiny bit of white, same brush, don't dip in the water, and you'll see a difference in the bell right here. So you'll see that it's got some striations there. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to dip into the phthalo blue, same brush, and make some highlights right here. I just dipped into the phthalo blue and just made like 3 highlights. Okay. And that takes care of that bell so far. So far, I'm going to wipe this off with my wet paper towel. Okay. Now I'm going to dip more into my pinkish, my quinacridone magenta mixed with white, but a little bit more quinacridone magenta because I don't want it to be too light pink. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to just curve down in a C. And curve down a little bit more. Okay. Then I'm going to go into that, pinch that off, go back into that light purple, and I'm going to surround it. I'm going to surround that like this. Okay. Dipping right back into that light purple, and I'm going to surround this part. Uh-oh, I need a little bit more. My paint's starting to dry. It's hot in here. I'm going to surround this a little bit more. Okay. There we go. Just surround that pink, dark pink color. And there's your first one. So you kind of get the shape of it. I have like some purple, and then you'll see the guts of it right there, that that quinacridone magenta in the center. And that's what that is right there. Okay? All right. So that's our first flower. Now I'm going to touch my brush into titanium white, and I'm going to just touch the edges of this flower, of this stamen, with my titanium white. Just touching the edges of each of those thingies. All right, so there's your first flower. Was that hard? All right, I'm going to wait till somebody wants, if anyone wants to catch up. All right, and I'll go over it again in just telling you what I did, because it's hard to follow and paint at the exact same time. I made like a little teacup handle with quinacridone magenta and pink. And then I made a swipe coming down the center in a long triangle. And then I made a little top part of the C that joined that long triangle. I took just the edge of my brush into a combination of quinacridone magenta and phthalo blue, and just put a dark, like a shadow, under that teacup handle. With my quinacridone magenta mixed with phthalo blue, I came down here and made a bell shape, and in the center of that, before I follow through around the edges, I took quinacridone magenta and I made just kind of a odd shape, circular, right there. Okay. I surrounded that with the darker, with the purplish color. So now you see the bell shape coming this way, and then the quinacridone in the center, but the bell shape hangs over that quinacridone part. I hope I explained it well. So all of this darker purple is that bell of the flower, and this top part is that top part that you see, the court jester section. It's just the angle of this flower is odd, and that's why I have it. That's why it's looking like that. Okay. So the wind's blowing, the flowers kind of matured, um, not looking quite exactly like the rest of the flowers, and it doesn't have the perfection, and that's how it is. Yeah, it looks much harder than it is. It's easy because I already did it once, and I figured out how to explain it in a proper order. When I was doing it originally, I was kind of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, worried about the blending. But right now, I'm not so worried about the blending because it comes together. It just does come together. And things come together when you're not concentrating so hard on it. Okay? So I accidentally interrupted that. Just a little fix. All right. Now's a perfect time to stretch. Yeah, it does. It has that look to it. I don't know what nicknames go with what flowers. This is a fuchsia. It will look a little bit more like one when we add a couple more. But this is a perfect time to stretch, take a break. It's a perfect time for me to take a sip of water and ask those who are painting how they're doing. I see an answer to Tina, but I don't see Tina. Oh, here's she. Uh, yes, you can definitely do another layer on these flowers. I think that's the question on this flower. But be careful about layering because this flower will darken up on you. This quinacridone magenta, these that start out kind of pink, it will darken up on you. Okay? But I'm not sure. Tina, were you the one that said you were using fluid acrylics? Because yes, you probably do have to darken it up. Put another layer. Speaking of which, I'm putting another layer on my little ball here, my bud, and then I'm going to dip a little bit of white and make a little where sun kiss, little sun kiss there. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do with that. All right, Tina said no to something. Mm, okay, can't see what the no is to. And oh, you're using, okay, that wasn't you that was using the fluid acrylics. You're using the regular acrylics. Okay. Are you using your new Liquitex? Mm, you're using fluid. Okay, so you might need to put another layer on there. Be careful of going back over it while it's wet, though. Okay. Be careful about going over it while it's wet. Um, kind of give it a moment. Like right now, I could go over mine because I've been sitting here drinking my coffee. We could paint longer if we take breaks. Just saying. Because I was thinking we might have to break this up into part 3. It would not bother me at all if it doesn't bother you. But if we take breaks and relax, um, we could do a little bit more. It sounds backwards, but it's true. Now what I'm going to do is put a flower right about here. This is going to be my really in focus flower, although that looks more focused than my original one, and I kind of like it. But anyway, I'm going to put my other flower right here. And so now we kind of know how to make that skirt, right? So it's going to be a combination of, you got to spray some water on your palette, on your quinacridone, and on your white. and on your phthalo blue so that it doesn't skin over. Those of you that are using heavy body acrylics. I'm going to go back into my purple here, which is my combination of phthalo blue and quinacridone magenta, which I got really carried away with. I hope I need a lot of purple. And I need some white, which I was trying to conserve with. And I'm making a huge mess. Okay. And sometimes when you make a big mess, you might as well start all over. It's really hard to lighten something once you've gotten it too dark. Okay, I got my purple back. Yay, got my purple back. Okay, so now I have to make the skirt. I'm calling it a skirt. For those of you that are just joining me, I'm using terms like bells and skirts and so forth to describe. Yeah, it is kind of fun making a mess. I'm sitting here stirring paint. I almost forgot about the rest of you. So what I'd like to do is I'd like the top part, the just part, to be right up here, right about where the stamen is for here. So I'm going to start the skirt part right about here. Okay. And it's a little lighter than I wanted, but that's fine because we're going to be doing that bad word called blending. Okay. So it's a pretty color though. And this is where I'm doing my, see how that's not, it's not going to go straight across, okay? I don't want that to go straight across. It's going to have that not quite all one ball thing going on, okay? So that's what that's going to look like. Now, I'm going to highlight it by going into that darker purple that I had. And how do you get darker purple? You add a little bit of phthalo blue to it. And I'm going to darken this side of it because I want the sun coming from the other side. So I'm going to darken this a little. Okay. A little phthalo blue in here. All right. I'm just going over the edge and then a little bit of this way, okay? A little bit underneath. Kind of like you would do a skirt, you know, kind of like you would do the folds. I got a little carried away with that. So I'm going to go back in here with a lighter. Okay. All right. And then here around the edge. Okay, so there's my bell. Okay. I'd like to make a little bit of a division. So what I want to do is I'm going to make a little bit of a L shape right here. So it doesn't look like all one lump. Okay, so make your little L shape in the middle, toward the bottom third. Little strokes that curve around so that it's not all one lump. All right. Now, I'm happy you are here because it's not all about painting and how to paint. It's about us and how we feel. We could talk more about how we're feeling on chat than we can in the group because it's more of a conversation. So it just makes it easier. And that's one reason why I like doing these, because it gives us that opportunity. When you're talking about something in a thread on Facebook or in the group, it feels, because I've done it, it feels like I'm whining. But when I'm in chat on here on YouTube, it feels more like I'm having a conversation. So I'm a little bit freer to say how I'm feeling. So physically, if it's not tip top, which it's not gonna be. All right. So what I did was I grabbed some more quinacridone magenta because I wanted a quinacridone magenta um, without cleaning my brush. I wanted the just part, the court just part, to be a quinacridone magenta and not a purple, okay? And I lightened it up a little bit. You could put a touch of titanium white in it, just a touch, because I don't want it pink. Um, and it still has, from the dirty brush, it still has some phthalo blue in it. And now we're going to make the little just part. I'm not worried about the leaves. This is going to overlap, go under, whatever. So I'm not worried about the leaves in the background. So this is going to be like a leaf. So I'm starting out really skinny here. And I'm going to make it like that. Okay. So that's my first thing. See, you can make leaves any kind of way you want to, as long as your finished product is what you want. So you don't have to have an exact way you're holding your brush. I did show you how I made my leaves here, but if you notice, I went in the opposite direction this time. So the brush direction does make a difference in how it turns out. The edge of this one looks more intentional, whereas my leaves, when I went the other direction, the ends of my leaves looked more like they uh, are trying to go away. This one I didn't want to go away. This I wanted to stand out. So I actually started on the end and pressed harder as I got to the bell part of the flower. Okay. Now here, I'm just going to make like a little square thing. I don't know how to call it I won't call it a square, but I'll just make this little thing right here because I'm doing something else on top. I'm going to let that sit. Okay. And then here, I'm going to start here. Okay. I'm going to start here. Press down harder. Trying to miss the edge of that stamen and go like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to dip that same brush into a little titanium white because I want to lighten it up. I want to lighten it up here. And I'm going to make a top part coming over our direction. So I want the point of this to come down this way, go up. Wow, that's really light. And then do this. And that makes it look like it's hanging over. Okay. Now, I'm going to take that same light and go like that. And that put a little edge on there. And that makes it look like the leaf is curving up. Okay. And then here, I'm just going to make a little teeny line going down. So that gave us a little highlight on that. Okay. Now, what do we have to do? What is the most fun part of making these things, in your opinion? In my opinion, it's the stamen. To me, that's what makes the flower. So I'm going to make my pink again. I'm going to grab my pink, which is my quinacridone magenta, and titanium white. And I'm just going to come down here and make my, ooh-wee. These are going to be kind of going away. Okay. All right, so that's a little less. And yes, I need to cover the tips of that because I don't want the tips of that to be, I'm going to cover the tips of that with my purple, with my darker purple. So you might want to keep spraying your canvas. Keep spraying your canvas every now and then, because we go back into these colors and dip back into these colors. It's not unusual. Now on that stamen, and I sure hope I'm using the right terminology because I'm not a botanist. But what do we do at the end? We make this pinkish white, mostly white, and we make the little section right here. Okay, make that little section on the bottom part. And here, just barely, because I have barely any showing. All right. How's that so far? This was the hard one. This is much easier. This one's going to be crazy looking, so it almost doesn't matter how it looks. The one that's over here is going to be going woo into the wind. So don't get too worried about that one. All right. So with this one, see how dark that got? That's what I was saying. Don't try to go over it too fast before you see what happens when it darkens up. I don't mind it though. I kind of like it. It is a little different from the first one. All right, so I'm going back into my quinacridone magenta and my titanium white. And a little bit more titanium white. I want a lighter pink, but I want it muted. So leave the dirty brush on here. Leave the phthalo blue mixture in your brush and just lighten it up. You might have to dab a little bit of water. Just a dab. Sometimes I put drops of water on my palette so that I don't have to actually dip into the water. Okay, that's a little trick that I somehow find myself doing. Okay, and the hangy things. Oh, so let's see. It's almost an hour, so maybe we can get this other flower in here and save the little birdie for the next time. Tell me what you think while I paint this. So right now I'm just going to make a sideways mess here, okay? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go like this. All right. Put just a little jesty thing there. Okay, I'm going to go like this, make the little jesty thing there. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to darken that up. A little bit more of my quinacridone. Wherever that went, kind of lost that. Okay, I'm going to darken that up. Oh, I might have to put some more out here. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to darken that up a bit. There we go. Okay, I'm going to darken it up here. Okay, so there's my highlights there. If you get into it right away and don't wait too long, you won't lift your paint back up. If you wait too long, you'll lift your paint back up off of it. I'm dipping into my phthalo blue. Excuse me. My quinacridone magenta. And my titanium white. And I got my purple going on again. By now you know how much to use. And I'm just going to make my bell shape. I'm going to make my bell shape right now. And it's kind of going to go this way. And it's going to go this way. Across. This way. Now I'm going to use my, I have to reload my brush with some quinacridone, which means I have to put a little bit more down on my palette. And I have to put some more white down on my palette. Let's see, what's it saying? Okay. What are you talking about? What are you saying on there? Did I see all caps? Yep. That's the all caps. You want to wait and do the bird the next time? Is that what the yep is about? Okay. All right. I had to lighten everything up and try to get some of my quinacridone in there, because this is going to be a combination of the magenta colors and the purple colors, this one here. So this one I'm just going to get a little crazy with. Okay. The sun is hitting this. I'm going to put a little purple in here too. Just getting a little crazy. This is the one where it looks like, okay, I'm done painting.
Said no bird today.
No bird today. All right. No bird today. We're not up to that. All right. You know who I cater to? I cater to my group. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Angie Green. I have a Facebook group, Painting with Fibromyalgia. I think that's who most of the people are chatting are. That's who they are. Members of the group. My more of the titanium white right here. And make a few little L shapes right there. Okay. All right. Just a few little kind of L shapes, curved L shapes, not straight L shapes. A little bit of the purple. Hope I'm not confusing you too much. Making her skirt, making her little skirt folds. Okay. And then I need to pink that up a little bit. Let's pink that up. I'm going to wipe off my brush because it's a little too purple. And then get into my little, there we go. My white. And then I'm going to play with that a little bit. And there we go. Just playing with this, just playing with the colors, just the highlights. Just playing. All right. And that's going back and forth with some purples. Going back and forth here. Taking the hard edge off of it. Don't want any hard edges. Which means I probably need a little water. Yep, that's a good idea. I forget all about water sometimes. I do. It's kind of weird. Okay. Okay. And then a little bit of purple. All right. So this is fun. All right. Try not to overwork it, because you know you can overwork something and end up with a mess. So I'm trying not to do that. All right. And then a little fluff on the bottom. I don't want the bottom to be straight. Here we go with that one. Okay. And I'm going to take this dark purple. I'm just going to make this edge right here on this. All right. Just to give it a little shading. Now what I'm going to do is take the pink, the quinacridone magenta. Am I going too fast? I'm sorry. But you guys kind of getting the gist of this. It's more like playing around. When you learn how to play around and relax, it just gets to be so much easier, so much more fun. And then here we go with these. These are kind of going, woo, woo. Okay. Those went that way. All right. Then I'm going to touch the bottom edge with a white. Touch that with a white. All right. I hope it wasn't too hard to follow along. I hope not. All right. Just throwing some little bit more. Just playing with that a little bit to bring it out. So yes, the answer to that question from a long time ago, can you layer it? The answer is yes. You can do whatever you want to do because you are the artist. So the answer is yes. All right, there's a few things missing in here that I'd like to do. And I have my little dirty brush. And what I'd like to do is make that little bulby thing. Well, that's a little too dark. I want to do this with a light color. I want to make this little bulby thing here. And it just kind of, like I said, it's like a little bulb that attaches these flowers. And that's what this one doesn't need it as much. Well, this one needs it a little bit. I think I'll just go this way with it. This one needs it a little. But this one doesn't need it as much because it's like the underneath part is showing, so we don't see that bulb part. And then when we start playing around with some greens and a couple leaves overlapping and our yellows and all that kind of stuff next time, and then we'll throw the bird in. So the next time will be touch up on the greens, or you could do that on your own. Layer the dark green and then dash on some cadmium yellow to make it look a little grassier and to take that hardness, the harshness of the real dark off. You always want to layer. And then so next week not next week. Next week is the artist from the UK next week. And she's going to be at 3 o'clock. Let's see. She's going to be at, trying to remember now, 3 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock UK time. All right. So that's next Saturday. Anyway, this is going to be the finished product, similar to what we have here. No two paintings are exactly alike unless you make a print of it. So yours is going to be different, just like my two were different. Okay. I had a great time. I hope everybody else had a great time. Don't forget, next Saturday is going to be our surprise guest artist, and that's 3 o'clock Eastern. That's 2 o'clock Central. That's 8 o'clock p.m. UK time, and that's 3 in the morning Australia time. And that's about it that I can think of. Okay. Can we not have the blacked out screen, please? Oh, you want to see me? Oh, okay. I forgot. All right. Hang on. Hang on. It's not really blacked out. It's just what I have focused on. Okay, let me transition. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see if you can see. All right. Hello. I should be saying goodbye. Sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot. All right. All right. Is that better? You're welcome. You guys have a great night too. I'm so happy you were here. Let me see if I missed anybody. Let's see. Uh, Michael Ann's here. She's also one of my moderators. Leanne, Bonnie. I want to say thank you for helping me out. And oh, Angela Maxwell is here. Hi, I didn't expect to see you. I'm so happy you're here. Yay. And let's see who else. Carol is here. Hi, Carol. I'm happy to see you. Tina, I hope you were able to keep up with the painting, but you know what? We're breaking it up. So you'll have time to go back and see this and catch up because I get carried away sometimes. And let's see. Oh, Mickey's here. Hi, Mickey. I didn't see you. Yay. So I'm glad we had such a nice turnout. That makes me feel really good. It makes me feel like I'm not talking to myself, which I'm pretty good at doing. But thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited to see all of you. David had to leave. Okay. I was glad to see him too. That was really nice. I think he was the first time on here on my lives. So I hope to see you next time. Let me know if you have any questions later. We could even work on this sort of on our own. So shoot me your questions. I You could probably see why the painting came together like it did. I took advantage of some of the negative space. That's why I wanted different shades of green, the lights and the darks. And so now when we put the hummingbird there, it's going to pop out. It's going to really pop. So this is, this is all part of designing and um, composition and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a little complicated when you're trying to put it together, but when it comes together, it feels really good. So I'll see you all. Thank you very much, Michael Ann. And I'll see you all very soon, okay? Take care. Bye-bye. I got to do my usual kisses. All righty. Bye-bye. Good night. Thank you all for coming. Don't forget to hit thumbs up.